All right, welcome back to part 2 on the 6 thinking hats. It's just going to be, we're going to practice a few things here just to get used and comfortable with that. If you have not seen the first part of the 6 thinking hats, go back to part 1. But part 2, we're just going to do a few activities just to make sure that we're practicing and getting this down, recognizing it when we hear it and see it, and also how to conjure it up when we need it as well. All right, we base this on the Edward de Bono 6 thinking hats, remember? He's the author of that. You can go to Google and learn about him and there's other resources you have. But remember, while we have hats, we can easily put it on, we can easily take it off, we can switch hats. We can use all the hats, we can use some of the hats. Each hat has a different color, remember? And the colors help us to remember why that hat exists, that thinking mode exists. So when we look at the white hat, it's all about information and data. What questions do I have? What questions do I want to ask? Where can I get this information? It's very objective. It's not opinion, but it's about factually based information and maybe where other information is that I need to get to. Another hat is the red hat. The red hat conjures up red emotion, kind of anger, Valentine's. It's all emotional, right? It has good feelings, bad feelings, whatever that is, it's an emotion. It also allows us to have a gut feeling about something. Our hunch is telling us. Feelings and hunches play a valid role in our thinking. So how do you feel about something? And I do not have to justify that to you. I'm just getting a pulse check about how you feel about something. The black hat conjures up more about what are the weaknesses or things that could derail us. The black robe kind of is the caution. Sometimes people say the devil's advocate, or I'm putting on the judge's robe a little bit and being a little bit more critical in the thinking. So what are things that could be the downfall or cause damages? Okay. Then we also have the yellow hat. Remember that hat was all about sunshine, positivity. What are the positives? What are the benefits of this idea? I don't necessarily have to like the idea, but I'm still conjuring up the positives in this process. The green hat, well, green is all about growth, new things, new grass, new ideas. So it's about changing the existing idea and adding something different to it in that process. We have this thought and idea on something, but how could that alter or change that from the original idea or proposal on that? And then the blue hat, kind of down here a little bit, the blue hat is all about the process. And the hats is a process, and I can use the blue hat to call up the process that I want to use. Do I want red hat thinking or green hat thinking? Do I want all this thinking? And also, after doing all this thinking, well, what did we learn? The blue hat's going to help you to come to a conclusion, the next step. It's kind of like the traffic light. It's going to tell us, oh, we got a red traffic light here. It's not time for us to move on yet. We got some more work to do on this. Oh, I have a cautious hat. I still got some things I need to work on. And it kind of points to what we need to do. Get more information, kind of come over, work on these weaknesses in that process. So the blue hat is like the conductor, like the conductor that conducts the orchestra. They can decide what hat, what music they want, and so forth. Or the DJ in that process. Or like our golf clubs we talked about. They're the ones deciding what club to play with. All right, that's a quick review on this. So let's focus in again on another activity. So I pulled one out. These are great books. 6 Thinking Hats for Schools. They have them for 6th to 8th grades, high school, and elementary in that process. So I found it on Google. I found it on Amazon. So sometimes you can find that. So let's focus on another one here. This time we're going to work on what I call a proposal, okay? The proposal. This is just a proposal. Some proposals are good thoughts and some may not be. We may not like certain ones. But here's the proposal. It says school sports should be banned. All right, so what I want you to do is that we're going to remember our 6 thinking modes, just like the colors. We're going to read a couple statements here, and I want you to figure out if it's offering a new idea, that statement. Was that statement looking for facts? Was it finding something's strength? Was it looking for the thinking about the thinking, or was it did it show a weakness? And I kind of hinted at these types of thinking modes with the color underneath them, okay? And there's my white hat, or my red hat feelings, all right? So let's take a look at this first type here. This is the proposal. School sports should be banned. Okay. Franco says, I hate this idea. Okay. So we have a hat over here. We have a piece of paper. So if you want to get a piece of paper and a hat, you don't really just need a piece of paper. And I want you to think about when Franco says, I hate this idea. Was he looking for facts? No. Was he finding a weakness in the proposal? I don't see a weakness in his proposal. I don't see him thinking about the thinking. No. What about I find strengths? Did he find a strength in that? I don't hear a strength in that. Is he telling a feeling? Yes. So if he's telling a feeling, that hat would be red. So he offered up a red hat thought, right? And that thought was he didn't like that. Okay, nothing wrong with that. So we recognize that, right? Franco was thinking from his red hat. Now we have Lucy. It won't work because the parents will protest. I think so. Lucy says it won't work because the parents will protest. Okay. Is she offering a feeling? Not really. Is she offering a strength? I don't think she's offering a strength. Is she talking about the thinking? No, I don't see her offering any thinking about the thinking on that. Did she find a weakness? Yes, she's offering up a weakness. So therefore, she's got the black hat thinking going on. Again, nothing wrong with that, because are there weaknesses with the school banning sports? Oh, I think there are too. I think there's lots of weaknesses that could happen. So she offered something up so we can recognize what Lucy's thinking from, what hat she was wearing at that very moment when we proposed that. All right, let's go to Ross. Yes. Ross says, but think of all the money we'd save if sports was banned. We could spend it on the new band uniforms and field trips and computers. Maybe Ross doesn't play sports. All right, so what is Ross offering up? Is he looking for facts? I don't think so. Is he telling feelings? I don't think it's a feeling so much. Is he finding a weakness? No. Is he looking for a strength? Yes, I think he offers up a strength. Here's other positives about not having sports. The money could go here. He's offering up another positiveness for that process. So I'd say Ross is wearing the yellow hat at that moment. That was his thinking at that. All right. Well, we still have some other students have had some thoughts. Xavier says, which sport would be banned? Which sports would be banned? Do they mean to ban sports from gym class too? Is he offering up new ideas? I don't think so. Is he thinking about the thinking? A little bit there. I think that could possibly fit there. Is he finding new strengths? No. Is he finding a weakness? No. Is he telling a feeling? No. Is he looking for facts? Or does he have more questions and pondering questions? So I think we're right here someplace. I think he's wearing the white hat there. I think he still wants to know what information is missing and how can we get to it. He's asking some clarifying questions. Does that include other types of sports and gym in that process? But he is thinking about the thinking there a little bit, but I think it might be a little bit more about that. But let's see. Let's go on. We'll hold that one there. Maria says, if it's about cost, maybe we could suggest some fundraising ideas, like getting businesses in town to support our teams. Is she sharing a feeling? No. Is she finding a weakness in this proposal? No. Is she finding a strength? No. Is she offering a new idea? Yes. She's building on this one by saying, well, we could take this idea if that's the cause, and maybe we could say we could find more money in that process. So she offered a new idea in that process, and maybe some thinking about that too. All right. So let's look at who's this? Lil, sorry. Who is that? Lee. Sorry, I can't read upside down. Lee says, let's think of a way to get more facts on this. Then we could think more about whether or not it's a good idea. Lee is saying, what now? Is she offering more facts? Well, she's saying we should get more information, right? Okay. Is she offering new ideas? Not necessarily a new idea. Did she find strengths? No. Was she speaking from weaknesses? No. Feelings? No. She's summarizing all this up and saying, perhaps we might need, and she's calling a process in place. She's asking to do the next step, which is to maybe think of ways to get more facts on this information and think how we could improve on that. So let's do our check on that in that process. So that first one was telling feelings, right? He had a feeling. Lucy was finding weaknesses. Rose was finding strengths. Xavier was finding facts, the white hat. And then Maria offered some new ideas. in that process. And think about our thinking was the blue process. So we had blue, green, and then we had the white hat, and then we had the yellow hat, and then we had the black hat and the red hat. So that was just a check on that. Just learning how to think through these processes. Can we hear it in other people? Can we hear it in ourselves? And when we see that, we're strengthening the idea that we have people thinking from all different perspectives. All of this thinking is good thinking, right? All ideas in this. But we got to go someplace with it. So I'd say we have some more homework to do on this idea too, don't we? Maybe we need to follow through with what Lee is saying in this process. All right, so there's a thought on that one. All right, let's go to another activity very quickly. Let's go back to a different statement here again. Reading this statement here, people down here go about the day's work. I hear planes high overhead, soldiers coming home. Someone laughs. The things laughing people cannot hear. It's a short little statement here. So if we look at that statement, and I want you to put on your red hat again. Remember, red hat is all about emotion, right? How do you feel about this poem? And again, you don't have to justify it. You just have to acknowledge how you feel, all right? So some people may say, I don't like that poem. Other people say, this poem makes me feel lonely. That's how they feel. Nothing wrong with that. If I ask you about white hat, remember, white hat is all about facts, right? It's all about maybe questions I still have. Do you have some questions about this poem? I do. I wonder really what they're talking about. Are they talking about the soldiers coming home? Are they talking about the feelings of the soldiers coming home? I'd love to ask the person that wrote this. I have still some more questions I'd like to ask. So what questions might you want to ask this person? Who's anonymous? We don't know who it is. If I ask you to stick with white hats and think of facts, can we come up with some facts about this? Who's it written by? Well, we don't know. It's just we have anonymous. Does it have a title? No. And that we know it's talking about soldiers and laughter and planes. We can go back and read that. So it's always good to look at our facts as well. If I asked you to look at yellow hat, the good points about this poem. Some people might say the last line makes you think about small details that are easily overmissed, right? Things laughing that people cannot hear. So the person hearing something special that sets him apart from the crowd. That could be a positive, right? If we looked at it from a green hat, how could we change this or alter this thinking? Maybe the poet is sad because a loved one was lost in the war. We're adding our perspective to that, an idea, but your idea may be different than the way somebody else thinks about that. So looking at the hats again, we can use it to conjure up different things. Again, we're practicing using the different colors and the different hats to help us to remember, to see that we see it. Just like if you're in school, you want to look at facts. What is the facts that we're learning about biology or math in that process? How am I feeling about math? If I could change math in any way I wanted, how could I propose something in that process? All right? So those are some things as well. We'll do one more word test here. We'll switch over to this proposal. This proposal says, no high school student should be allowed to work at a paid job more than 6 hours a week. So we're talking about a high school student should not be allowed to work at a paid job more than 6 hours a week. That's a proposal. Remember the different types of thinking we're looking for? Look for facts, telling feelings, finding weaknesses, finding strengths, think about our thinking, offer new ideas. All right. Raphael says, I think that's a lousy idea. What hat is he wearing? He's wearing the red hat, isn't he? Because it's a feeling. He's sharing a feeling. Nothing wrong with Raphael feeling that way or you feeling that way in that process. Lori says, it might help students concentrate on a little more on their schoolwork. What idea is she thinking from, or what thought is she thinking from? What type of thinking? She says, it might help students concentrate a little more on their schoolwork. Is that a feeling? No. Was that looking for facts? No. Was she looking to find a weakness? No. Was she finding a strength? Yes. Right? So she was wearing the yellow hat on that one. I bet you got that one right. All right, our next one. Would that restriction apply in summer too? He has a question. He's not sure about that statement because that statement didn't necessarily say that, did it? If we go back and read it, didn't say it. So he's asking a question. He wants some clarity. What hat is that asks questions or wants to find out or finds a gap in the original proposal to say, does that fit that? Is he looking for facts? I think he's looking for a fact. So he's asking the proposal, does that include that or not? All right, our next one. Maybe schools should pay for you for doing homework. I think that's a cool idea. Maybe schools should pay you for doing homework. Is that a fact? Is that a weakness? Is that a feeling? Is that the thinking about the thinking? Well, I always think he's thinking. Did he find a strength? Did he offer a new idea? He offered a new idea. Tony, the problem is that many students would drop school instead of quitting their jobs. Oh, never thought about that perspective. Was that a new idea? Not necessarily. Was that a strength? Not necessarily thinking. Think about the thinking? No. Was he telling a feeling? No. Did he find a weakness? Yes, he saw a potential downfall or a negative or a caution about that. Some people might just drop out of school altogether. I hadn't thought about that. Shanna says, how about if we get some more information first and then look at the good and bad of the points? What hat is that? She's offering up a proposal about how we should move through this decision, and she's thinking about the thinking. So she's wearing the blue hat saying, well, listening to all this, perhaps we need to get some more clarity about this before we decide to make the next step. I think she offered the blue hat. There you go. All right, one last thing to think about is, again, whatever decision that you're making. When I was working with my daughter, Anna, she had a list of colleges. And so we listed colleges like UT Chattanooga, Loyola. There's one out in California. And then we went through the 6 thinking hats. For each Loyola one, well, what does Loyola? Tell me about Loyola. Tell me some facts about that. Tell me some things that they have to offer. Do they offer your area of interest? Do they offer some school grants? Can they help pay for it? What is the cost of this school? How far is this school from home? What's the where would you live in that process? So lots of questions for that one. She could wear the yellow hat. What's the benefits of going to Loyola University or to UT in that process? I'd ask her to think about what are the cautions about going that far up to Loyola, which was in Chicago. What were the cautions about going to UT Knoxville and UT Chattanooga? How does she feel about these colleges after she's done all her thoughts and ideas and has visited them? What's her emotion? It's one thing to know about the college from a brochure, but did she go check it out and wear that? Also, then, what ideas could she have? What things could she alter if she was thinking between things in this process? I remember when my oldest daughter, Amelia, was making a decision, and she was studying pharmacy, and she was trying to get to the pharmacy school, graduate school sooner. And she was at Lipscomb University, and then she went over to Belmont. And then to kind of help, when she transferred from Lipscomb, she went to Belmont, but she wanted to finish up faster. So that summer, she decided to take some courses at Nashville State. So she ended up combining some ideas to get to where she wanted faster. She put a green hat on and thought, how can I make this work for me? Because the classes aren't being offered when I wanted to graduate the way she wanted. So she found another place. She proposed a new idea. Maybe another school could help her get that done. Anyways, good luck with your 6 thinking hats. I hope that helped you practice a little bit more. Again, I'm Lynne Maynor, and happy to help you with your thinking.